Good day, students. Welcome to mathgotserved.com. In this clip, we're going to be going over lesson 2.2 of the Accuplacer Prep for Arithmetic, focusing on operations on fractions, namely multiplying and dividing. Before we take a look at some examples, we're going to start out by going over the steps involved in multiplying fractions. Number one, you'll have to express all fractions as proper or improper fractions. So if you have a whole number or mixed number, you want to convert those to improper fractions. And then you cross-reduce if possible. Step 3, when you're multiplying, you simply multiply horizontally. Okay, numerators get multiplied with numerators, and denominators get multiplied with denominators. To divide, in step 4, what you do is you multiply the dividend by the reciprocal of the divisor fraction. I like to use the term drop, change, flip. So you drop the dividend, you change the division to multiplication, and you flip the divisor, interchanging the numerator and the denominator, which is equivalent to reciprocation. When you're done, you then simply multiply, and final step, you reduce and express as a mixed number where applicable. So these are the steps that we're going to be using to multiply fractions and also divide. All right, let's take a look at question number 1. What if you're asked to find a product? Find a product of 3/5 times 4/7 and reduce completely. Okay, so what do we have here? 3/5 multiplied by 4/7. In this case, we are dealing with the multiplication of two fractions. Okay, so we have a fraction being multiplied by a fraction. Now, first things first, check to see if you can cross-reduce. Okay, does 3 go into 7 or is 7 going to 3? Do they have any common factors? How about 5 and 4? We see that there are no common factors, so what you do next is you multiply across horizontally. So you have 3 multiplied by 4 divided by 5 multiplied by 7. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times 7 is 35. Okay? So there goes your final answer for question number 1. Okay, for number 2, what if you were to find the product? Find the product of 4/15 and 9/5, and you're to reduce completely. Okay, so 4/15 times 9/5. In this case, we have two fractions again, so we're multiplying a fraction times a fraction. But there's a twist in this particular problem. What is the twist? Now remember, before you multiply, you want to check to see if you can cross-reduce. Okay? So if you look at the diagonals, are there any common factors between the numbers that are oriented diagonally? Does 4 and 5 have a greatest common factor? The answer is no. How about 15 and 9? The answer is yes. The greatest common factor of 15 and 9 is 3. So we're going to divide by that. So 3 goes here 5 times, and 3 goes here 3 times. So this becomes, since it has been reduced completely, we can now multiply across 4 times 3 divided by 5 times 5. Okay, so you reduce diagonally. You can also reduce vertically, but never reduce horizontally. That's not acceptable. Okay, 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 5 is 25. And there goes your answer. So this is an example where you multiply two fractions with reduction. Okay, now let's take a look at question number 3. What if we're to find find the product of 25 and 415, and we're to reduce our results completely. How do we do that? 25 times 4 over 15 is a scenario where you're multiplying a whole number by a fraction. Now, how do you deal with a case like this? What you do is you want to make sure that all your numbers are expressed as fractions, either proper or improper. 25 needs to be expressed as an improper fraction, 25 over 1. Okay? And then times 4 over 15. Now, why do we do this? Well, this step is necessary so you can keep track of what you're multiplying by. Okay? 1 has already occupied the position of the denominator, so we know what we are multiplying 15 by. We're multiplying horizontally, so 25 will go with 4 and 1 will go with 15. Now, before you multiply, what are you supposed to do? Check to see if you can reduce. If you forget to reduce before you multiply, you can multiply and reduce afterwards, okay? But multiplying factors before, reducing factors before multiplication is much simpler than multiplying and then trying to reduce. So let's see if we can reduce. 1 and 4, 1 goes into 4 times, so no need to reduce that. 25 and 15, 5 goes into both. The GCF of 25 and 15 is 5, so 5 goes into 15 3 times. And 5 goes into 25 5 times. Now we're going to multiply across. We have 5 times 4, numerator times numerator, divided by 1 times 3. And your final answer is 20 over 3. This improper fraction can be expressed as a mixed number, so you just basically divide 20 divided by 3. 3 goes into 26 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Remainder 2. So our answer is 6 whole number, 2 over 3 in as a mixed number form, and 20 over 3 as an improper fraction. Okay, now let's take a look at question number 4. What if we are to find the product of 4 and 2/3 and 7, and we're to reduce completely? Okay, so what are we dealing with in this case? 4 and 2/3 multiplied by 7. In this setup, we are dealing with the product of a mixed number and a whole number. We're multiplying a mixed number and a whole number. So how do we do with this? Well, both of them have to be expressed as improper fractions. To express 4 and 2/3 as an improper fraction, you multiply and then add. So you have 3 times 4, which is 12, plus 2, which is 14 over 3. That times 7 will be expressed as an improper fraction over 1. Now check to see if you can cross reduce. Nothing is common between 3 and 7, and then 14 we have 1 here. No need to check for that, so now we just simply multiply across, and we have 14 times 7 divided by 3 times 1. 14 times 7 is 70 plus 28, which is 98 over 3. This is an improper fraction, and we can express that as a mixed number. Let's do that real quick. 98 divided by 3. 3 goes into 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract, bring down 8. 3 goes into 8 2 times. 2 times 3, 6. Subtract. your remainder is 2. So 9 over 8 can be written as 32 whole number, remainder 2 over 3 as a mixed number. Okay, let's take a look at question number 5. Now, what if we're to find the product of 3 and 1/5 times 2 and 1/7, and we are to reduce our results completely. Alright, so what are we dealing with here? 3 and 1/5 multiplied by 2 and 1/7. This is the product of a mixed number times a mixed number. So we're multiplying two mixed numbers. Okay? How do we go about this? Well, we have to first convert both of them into improper fractions. 3 and 1/5 can be written as 3 times 5 plus 1, 16 over 5, times 2 and 1/7, 7 times 2 plus 1 is 14 plus 1, which is 15 over 7. Now we need to cross reduce. 5 goes here 1, 5 goes here 3. That's the GCF of 5 and 15, 5. 16 and 7 do not have any common factors. So we multiply across. 16 times 3 divided by 1 times 7. 16 times 3 is 48. 48 over 7 is the improper fraction form of the answer. If we want to write this as a mixed number, we just divide 48 by 7. 7 times 6 is 42. Subtract, the remainder is 6. So 48 is 6 whole number, remainder 6 over 7 as a mixed number form of our final result. Okay, let's take a look at question number 6. For question 6, what if we're asked the following statement? What is 5 of 4 and a third? Okay, so one thing you want to remember is that the word, so recall that the word of is an operation. What operation is of? Of basically telling you to multiply. Okay, so 5 of 4 and a third is the same thing as saying 5 multiplied by 4 and 1/3. What are we dealing with in this case? This is a whole number being multiplied by a mixed number. So what we're going to do is express both of them as improper fractions. So this will be 5 over 1. And they will multiply this by 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1, 13 over 3. Okay. Now to multiply fractions, you go horizontally, numerator times numerator, 5 times 13, divided by denominator times denominator, 1 times 3. Of course, you check to make sure that you can reduce here, and we cannot reduce. There are no common factors between 1 and 13 other than 1, and 5 and 3 are co-prime. 5 times 13 is 65 divided by 3. That can be written as a mixed number. So what is 3 divided by 65? 3 goes into 6 twice. 6 times 3 is 6. 0, bring down the 5. 3 goes into 5 once. 1 times 3 is 3, subtract 2. So our final answer in mixed number form is 21 and 2/3. Okay, now let's take a look at some division problems. Alright, we've been doing multiplication for a little bit, so now let's take a look at division. So now what if we're to find the quotient of 14 divided by 25 divided by 21 over 50, and then we're to reduce completely. Okay, so 14 divided by 25 divided by 21 over 50 is a scenario where we are dividing two fractions. So fraction, proper fraction divided by a proper fraction. Now, what we want to do is rewrite this as a multiplication problem. So what do? You DCF. Drop, change, flip. You drop the dividend, 14 over 25. You change your division to a times, and then you reciprocate or flip your divisor, interchanging the numerator and the denominator to yield 50 over 21. To divide is equivalent to multiplying the reciprocal of. Now that we've written it as a division problem, we can now apply the division procedures that we've been using in the previous problems. Can we reduce? Are there common factors between 14 and 21? Absolutely. 7 goes into 21 3 times, and 7 goes into 14 twice. 5 goes into 25 goes into 25 once, and 25 goes into 50 twice. So now we can multiply horizontally. We have 2 times 2 divided by 1 times 3, and that gives us the final result of 4 over 3. This can be written as a mixed number. 3 goes into 4 once, remainder 1. 1 and 1/3. Alright, let's take a look at one last example. What if you were asked to find the quotient of 15 divided by 4 and 2/3, and then you to reduce completely. Reduce completely. Okay. Now, what do we have here? 15 divided by 4 and 2/3 is a problem where we are dividing a whole number by what? By a mixed number. Now, how do you do this? How do you divide a whole number by a mixed number? First things first, you want to express the divisor and the dividend and the divisor as improper fractions. So 15 can be expressed as 15 over 1, and then divided by 4 and 2/3. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 2, that's 14, over 3 is the improper form of 4 and 2/3. Now we are going to drop, change, flip. Okay, we write this division problem as a multiplication problem. So when we DCF this problem, we drop the dividend, 15 over 1, change your division to a times, change, and then you flip your divisor by interchanging the numerator with the denominator and the denominator with the numerator. Okay, check to see if you can cross reduce. 15 and 14 do not have any common factors, so we just multiply horizontally. 15 times 3 divided by 1 times 14. That gives us 45 over 14. And in mixed number form, that can be written as, how many times does 14 go into 45? 14 goes into 45. Well, let's do a long division on the corner here so you can see what's going on. 45 and then 14. So let's try 3. 2 is 28, so let's try 3. So 3 times 14 is 42. Well, that's perfect. And then your remainder is 3. Okay, so 45 over 14 can be written as 3 and 314 in mixed number form. Okay, so there is your final answer. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this presentation. I really appreciate it. If you found the contents of this tutorial helpful in your preparation for your Accuplacer examination, do give us a thumbs up. Your positive feedback will be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions or comments concerning what we covered in this clip, just place it in the comment section below and we'll be more than glad to respond. We update videos to our YouTube page on a consistent basis, so do subscribe so that you can have updates to our latest uploads. More clips can be found on mathgotserved.com under test prep. Thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.